You now hold the key to the 33rd degree wealth secrets, the ancient art of harmonizing with the spirit of money. As you listen, you'll feel the truth resonate within you. Prosperity is not something you chase, but something you become. The flow of abundance begins the moment you remember who you are. 33rd Degree Wealth Secrets. Introduction. The relationship you cultivate with money mirrors all other relationships in your life. Just as you cannot force another person to stay through manipulation or desperation, you cannot grasp at wealth and expect it to remain. Money, like any conscious energy, responds to the vibration you emit. When you approach money with fear, anxiety, or scarcity thinking, you create resistance in the energetic field. These lower vibrations act as barriers, causing wealth to flow away from rather than toward you. The universe simply reflects back your own emotional signature regarding abundance. Instead, interact with money as you would a cherished friend, with respect, appreciation, and trust. Notice how you speak about it, think about it, and feel about it. Do you complain about its absence? Do you blame it for your struggles? Do you resent those who have more of it? These attitudes repel rather than attract. Begin treating money as a welcome presence in your life. Express gratitude for what you have, no matter how small. Handle physical money with care and positive intention. When you spend, do so with joy and blessing rather than worry. When you receive, accept gracefully rather than grasping desperately. As you shift into harmony with the consciousness of money, you'll find it naturally gravitates toward you, not because you've manipulated or forced it, but because you've aligned with its true nature as flowing abundance. You've created an energetic environment where wealth feels welcomed and appreciated. This is the profound truth. Money is neither evil nor separate from spiritual law. It is pure potential taking form, responding to your consciousness. Transform your relationship with it from adversary to ally, from master to partner, from scarcity to abundance. As within, so without. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Part 1. The Gentle Awakening to Money's Spirit. Chapter 1. Meeting Money for the First Time. A woman named Millie sat before her laptop, her stomach clenched as she prepared to check her bank balance. Like many, she had developed a habit of approaching her finances with dread, as though bracing for an attack. Each time she logged in, her breath would grow shallow, her shoulders would tense, and her mind would fill with worries about lack. Yet on this particular morning, something within her shifted. Perhaps it was the golden sunlight streaming through her window, or the gentle reminder from an old teaching, that which we resist persists. Instead of her usual anxiety, she paused and took a deep breath. "Hello," she whispered to her bank account, feeling slightly foolish yet somehow lighter. "I'm ready to work together." To her amazement, in the weeks that followed, subtle changes began to manifest. An unexpected refund appeared. A forgotten subscription she'd meant to cancel finally lapsed. A client offered additional work. These weren't massive windfalls, but gentle affirmations that something had fundamentally shifted in her relationship with money. This same principle revealed itself to Franklin, a small business owner who had always approached his finances with grim determination. He worked hard, pinched every penny, and viewed money as something to be conquered through sheer force of will. Yet despite his efforts, prosperity seemed to elude him. One day, while watching his daughter joyfully thank a friend for a small gift, Franklin realized he had never once felt grateful for the money that did flow into his life. That evening, he sat with his accounting books, and instead of scrutinizing them with his usual intensity, he began to appreciate each income entry as a gift. "Thank you," he whispered to each number, acknowledging the value it had brought to his life. Within months, Franklin noticed something extraordinary. His business hadn't just grown, it had transformed. New opportunities seemed to find him effortlessly. Clients began referring others without prompting. The very energy of his enterprise had shifted from struggle to flow. The truth revealed in these experiences echoes an ancient wisdom. Money responds to the emotional frequency you offer it. When approached with fear, it mirrors that tension back to you. When greeted with warmth, it reflects that grace in return. Just as a flower turns toward the sun, abundance naturally flows toward those who radiate welcome rather than worry. The practice. Before looking at any financial statement, breathe deeply 3 times, release all tension, and affirm with calm certainty, "I welcome partnership with prosperity." Feeling your finances respond like a trusted ally to your open, peaceful heart. Chapter 2. The Whisper of Respect. In a small village market, a wise woman named Clara noticed a copper coin lying in the dust. Most passers-by had stepped over it, deeming it too insignificant to warrant attention. Yet Clara bent down, gently lifted the coin, and wiped it clean with her sleeve. "Welcome, little one," she whispered, placing it carefully in her purse alongside her other coins. What others saw as a meaningless piece of metal, Clara recognized as a messenger of abundance. She understood that wealth consciousness begins not with great sums, but with honoring the smallest units of value that cross our path. Each coin, each bill, no matter its denomination, carries the same divine energy of abundance. You see, the universe does not differentiate between what you label as small or large. It simply responds to the quality of attention you give to all forms of abundance. When you dismiss smaller amounts as unworthy of your notice, you unknowingly broadcast a frequency of selective gratitude, a signal that creates limitation rather than expansion. This truth became evident in the tale of Waldo, a merchant who had grown weary of his worn leather wallet. Rather than replace it, he felt moved to honor it. He spent an evening carefully cleaning and conditioning the leather, repairing loose stitching, and even adding small decorative touches that pleased his eye. As he worked, he thanked the wallet for faithfully carrying his money through the years. Within days, Waldo began noticing subtle shifts. A tax reassessment resulted in an unexpected refund. A client paid an outstanding invoice he'd forgotten about. Even his regular expenses seemed to decrease, as though the universe was reflecting back the care he'd shown to the vessel of his abundance. The law at work here is both simple and profound. That which you honor multiplies. When you treat money, in all its forms, with reverence, you align yourself with the very essence of abundance. Each expression of gratitude, no matter how small, ripples outward into the infinite field of possibility, attracting more experiences worthy of appreciation. Think of money as a flowing river rather than a stagnant pool. Every coin, every bill is like a drop of water passing through your life. Some drops stay longer than others, but all are part of the same endless stream of abundance. Your role is not to grasp or cling, but to appreciate the flow itself. When you shift your perception in this way, something remarkable happens. The very energy of lack begins to dissolve, replaced by an awareness of the constant circulation of prosperity through your life. Small synchronicities multiply. Resources appear just when needed. The universe responds to your reverence with increased opportunities for gratitude. The practice. Each time money touches your hands, pause, touch it gently, and whisper, "Thank you for traveling through my life," honoring every exchange as sacred. In this quiet gratitude, abundance feels your reverence and returns it, magnified, through the generous rhythm of the universe. Chapter 3. Currency of Choice. In a bustling coastal town, Hattie created intricate tapestries that captured the essence of ancient wisdom. Her work spoke to the soul, weaving together colors and patterns that seemed to dance with living energy. Yet when customers inquired about prices, her voice would falter, her words tangling like loose threads. "Whatever you think is fair," she would say, or, "I'm sure we can work something out." Her uncertainty cast shadows over her talent, dimming the light of her true worth. This dance of indecision creates a ripple through the fabric of abundance. When you hesitate to name your value, the universe mirrors that uncertainty back to you. Money, being energy in motion, seeks clear channels through which to flow. It responds not to talent alone, but to the conviction with which that talent is presented to the world. The truth lies written in the ancient scrolls of prosperity. Clarity is the magnet that draws abundance. When your mind wavers between different prices, when you question your worth, you create resistance in the natural flow of wealth. Like water seeking its path, money flows most freely along channels carved by certainty. Leo, a young artisan in the same town, understood this principle intuitively. Though his craft was newer than Hattie's, he approached each transaction with unwavering clarity. "This piece is priced at 50 gold pieces," he would state, his voice carrying the quiet authority of one who knows their worth. There was no room for negotiation in his tone, not from arrogance, but from a deep understanding of value. Within months, Leo's business flourished beyond expectation. Clients sought him out not despite his firm prices, but because of them. His certainty became a beacon, attracting those who recognized true worth. His success wasn't merely about the numbers. It was about the energy behind them. You see, the universe responds not to your hopes or wishes, but to your unwavering knowing. When you stand firmly in your value, you align with the very forces that govern abundance. This is not about inflating prices or diminishing worth. It is about finding that sacred point where your inner truth meets outer expression. Hattie's transformation began the day she realized her indecision was not humility, but a barrier she had built against her own abundance. With each piece she created, she began stating her prices with quiet confidence. No more maybe or perhaps, only clear, direct statements of value. The shift was immediate and profound. Not only did her income rise, but the quality of her client interactions transformed. Those who recognized the worth of her work were drawn to her newfound clarity. while those who sought to diminish her value naturally fell away. This pattern reveals itself throughout the ages. Clarity attracts, uncertainty repels. The law is as constant as the rising sun. When you speak your worth with conviction, you send ripples through the fabric of reality itself, creating pathways for abundance to flow. The practice. Each morning, stand before your reflection and affirm with calm strength, "My value is clear, and money respects my certainty." Feeling confidence ground you as abundance flows effortlessly through your unwavering self-worth. Chapter 4. Gratitude, the Magnetic Signature. In a quiet village there lived a flower seller named Daisy who began each morning by writing heartfelt notes of appreciation, not to friends or family, but to every coin and bill that passed through her hands. "Thank you for choosing me as your temporary home," she would write in her worn leather journal, addressing the day's earnings as though speaking to cherished guests. At first, the other merchants laughed at her peculiar ritual, yet as seasons turned, they noticed something remarkable. While their own fortunes ebbed and flowed like uncertain tides, Daisy's flower shop bloomed with steady abundance. Customers appeared precisely when she needed them, and her simple bouquets seemed to fetch prices that defied the local market. The universe responds to the frequency of genuine appreciation. When you recognize money as a living current of energy, it begins to recognize you as a welcoming harbor. This ancient truth lies at the heart of material abundance. Gratitude is not merely a response to receiving, but a magnetic force that draws more to appreciate. Money, like any conscious energy, flows naturally toward those who acknowledge its presence with sincere thanks. Each expression of gratitude creates a resonance that attracts similar experiences. This is not mere coincidence, but the operation of universal law. Consider the tale of Harvey, a struggling artist who learned to thank the universe for commissions before they manifested. Each morning he would stand before his empty canvas and express heartfelt appreciation for the patrons he had yet to meet. Within months his gallery began filling with interested buyers, each one appearing as though summoned by his advanced gratitude. The wisdom revealed through Harvey's experience shows us that thanksgiving is not simply a response to abundance. It is abundance's first language. When you thank money before it arrives, you align with its natural desire to flow toward appreciation. This is the forgotten alchemy of prosperity. Gratitude offered in advance creates the very conditions it celebrates. Your relationship with money transforms the moment you begin treating it as a conscious presence worthy of thanks. Every transaction becomes an opportunity for communion. Every exchange a chance to strengthen the bonds of appreciation that draw prosperity closer. This truth echoes through the ages. Those who master the art of financial gratitude never walk long in the shadow of lack. Their thanksgiving becomes a beacon that guides abundance home, like a lighthouse calling ships to safe harbor. Ancient practice. Throughout your day, quietly whisper, "Thank you for loving me," with every exchange, feeling each transaction turn into a tender moment of partnership with the ever-flowing river of abundance. Chapter 5. The Cleansing of Guilt. In a mountain monastery, a wise woman spent decades serving others, yet harbored a secret fear. Though she gave tirelessly, each act of charity carried the weight of obligation rather than the wings of joy. Like many who walk the spiritual path, She believed wealth and enlightenment stood as opposing forces, never meant to dance together. The universal flow of abundance moves through giving and receiving, like the eternal rhythm of breath. Yet when guilt taints your giving, you create resistance in this divine circulation. Your hands become channels through which energy must flow, not barriers seeking to hold or reject it. Within you lies an ancient wisdom. True giving springs from the wellspring of joy, not the dry desert of duty. When you release money with genuine pleasure, celebrating its journey to bless another, you open yourself to receive the universe's boundless gifts. This is not mere transaction, but transformation, a sacred exchange that enriches both giver and receiver. A merchant named Grant discovered this truth through an unexpected lesson. Each month he paid his expenses with furrowed brow and clenched jaw, seeing each payment as a painful loss. His wealth seemed to shrink beneath the shadow of his worry until an elder shared a forgotten teaching. Money delights in joyful movement. When you give with wonder, you weave yourself into abundance's eternal dance. Grant began to shift his perspective. With each bill, he imagined the families supported by his payments, the children fed, the dreams nurtured, the lives touched by this flow of energy through his hands. As his attitude transformed from reluctance to celebration, mysterious channels of prosperity opened before him. His business flourished not through harsh striving, but through the natural expansion that follows freely flowing energy. You stand now at the threshold of this same wisdom. Each payment represents not loss, but participation in life's grand circulation. When you bless both the giving and receiving of money, you dissolve the ancient barriers of guilt that have kept abundance at bay. The universe asks not for your sacrifice, but for your willing participation in its endless dance of giving and receiving. Release the belief that spirituality requires poverty. True abundance flows not from grasping or rejecting, but from allowing yourself to be a joyful instrument of universal circulation. Let your giving become your gratitude made visible. Feel the difference between duty's heavy hand and joy's light touch. Notice how money responds differently when released with love rather than fear, with celebration rather than resignation. This wisdom comes not to burden, but to liberate. You need not earn the right to receive through painful giving. Instead, let your giving become a sacred practice of trust in life's abundant flow. Ancient practice. Before sending any payment, rest your hands upon it and breathe deeply, exhaling fear, inhaling joy. Then affirm, I celebrate this flow through my life. May this energy bless all it touches, both giver and receiver. I release it with joy, trusting in the endless abundance of the universe. Chapter 6. The Sacred Container. In the bustling marketplace of an ancient city, a merchant named Peggy struggled daily with her finances. Her purse, a chaotic nest of crumpled bills and scattered coins, mirrored the disorder in her monetary life. Each transaction became a frantic search, each payment an exercise in frustration as she dug through layers of receipts and forgotten trinkets. The universe speaks through order, for in the cosmic design every star holds its appointed place. When chaos reigns in your physical connection to money, it disrupts the natural harmony of abundance. Your wallet, purse, or money vessel serves as more than mere container. It stands as a sacred shrine to the energy of prosperity. Notice how money responds to the respect you show its dwelling place. When you handle your financial instruments with reverence, Straightening each bill and arranging coins with care, you signal to the universe your readiness to receive. A disordered space speaks of negligence, while an ordered one whispers of worthiness. In the quiet town of Millbrook, Stanley discovered this truth through an unexpected turn of events. His leather wallet, worn and stuffed with forgotten papers, had become a graveyard of expired cards and faded receipts. One morning, guided by an inner whisper, he emptied its contents onto his desk. As he sorted through years of accumulated chaos, he felt a shift in energy. With loving attention, Stanley cleaned the leather with gentle oil, arranged his cards with purpose, and placed fresh bills in crisp order. He treated each compartment as sacred space, each card as an honored guest. That very afternoon, 3 long-overdue payments arrived unexpectedly in his account. The law remains constant, as within, so without. Your outer world mirrors your inner relationship with abundance. When you create a sanctuary for money in your physical space, you simultaneously build an altar to prosperity in your consciousness. The organization of your financial space represents your respect for the energy of abundance. Each time you open your wallet, you either affirm chaos or celebrate order. The choice remains yours, to treat money's dwelling place as a sacred temple or allow it to become a forgotten attic of confusion. Ancient practice, the sanctification of the vessel. Find a calm space and lovingly empty your wallet, cleaning and arranging it with care as if preparing a sacred altar. Hold each bill, card, and coin with gratitude, then press the renewed vessel to your heart and affirm, "Sacred vessel of abundance, I honor you as a temple of prosperity. Through you flows the infinite stream of universal wealth." Chapter 7. Flow and Pause. Through ages past, merchants have known that commerce, like the tides, follows divine patterns. In a seaside village, Lucille tended her small shop with anxious devotion. Each quiet day sent waves of fear through her heart as she mistook natural ebb for permanent loss. Her eyes remained fixed on her ledger, watching numbers rise and fall like the moon's phases, yet understanding not their celestial dance. The universe moves in cycles of rest and renewal. Just as night must follow day, and winter must blanket summer's abundance, so too must commerce know its seasons of pause. These moments of apparent stillness harbor the seeds of future prosperity, though mortal eyes may not perceive their silent growth. In your journey with money, you have perhaps noticed these rhythms, times when abundance flows like spring rain, followed by periods of seeming drought. Yet wisdom lies in recognizing that even in stillness, powerful forces work unseen. The tree appears dormant in winter, yet beneath the frost, life stirs with renewed purpose. Lucille's anxiety peaked during slower seasons, leading her to force activity against nature's flow. She filled quiet hours with frantic promotions and desperate measures, exhausting herself and her resources. Until one day, an elder merchant shared the ancient truth. The tide always returns, but only after it retreats. This wisdom slowly transformed Lucille's relationship with her business cycles. She learned to welcome quiet periods as opportunities for refinement and renewal. During these times, she tended to her shop's appearance, deepened relationships with loyal customers, and restored her own spirit. When activity naturally resumed, she found herself strengthened, her business more resilient. In another town, Arthur witnessed this principle through his investment ventures. For years he chased constant growth, refusing to acknowledge the natural rhythm of markets. Each downturn sparked panic, pushing him to hasty decisions. Then, through studied observation, he noticed how periods of rest often preceded the most significant expansions. Arthur learned to trust these pauses, using them for contemplation and strategic planning. He discovered that forcing movement against the natural flow only created resistance, while aligning with it brought effortless progress. His wealth began to expand with greater ease once he surrendered to this cosmic dance. Money, like all energy in the universe, pulses with divine timing. When you resist its natural rhythm, you create discord in the flow of abundance. But when you align with these sacred patterns, recognizing rest as essential to growth, you open yourself to prosperity's full expression. Ancient practice, the breath of prosperity. Sit quietly and follow the rhythm of your breath. Inhale, receiving abundance. Pause, absorbing it. Exhale, releasing worry. Pause, trusting the flow. And then affirm softly, even in pause, abundance grows within me, resting in the timeless cadence where prosperity and peace move as one. Chapter 8. Ease over effort. Consider the tale of Betty, a skilled artisan who crafted exquisite jewelry. Her days overflowed with nervous energy as she pushed herself relentlessly, believing that constant motion would attract greater prosperity. From dawn until dusk, she rushed between craft fairs and markets, her shoulders tense with worry, her mind racing with calculations. Yet the more she chased, the more elusive success became. One autumn morning, exhausted from her ceaseless pursuit, Betty chose to rest beside a flowing stream. As she watched the water's gentle movement, a profound truth washed over her. Nature never strains. The stream didn't force its path. It found the way of least resistance. In that moment of surrender, Betty understood that her relentless pursuit had created resistance in the very flow she sought to enhance. She began to infuse pleasure into her work, taking time to feel the joy of creation. She listened to music while crafting, smiled more often with customers, and allowed herself moments of pure delight in her art. As her energy shifted from desperate pursuit to peaceful pleasure, an extraordinary transformation occurred. Orders began arriving effortlessly, and customers sought her out with unprecedented enthusiasm. The universe responds not to effort, but to alignment. This truth revealed itself through Clyde, a consultant whose practice struggled despite his expertise. For years, he had approached his business with rigid determination until wisdom led him to embrace ease. He stopped overextending himself with endless networking events and instead focused on work that brought him joy. He declined projects that felt forced and accepted only those that resonated with his spirit. To his amazement, the perfect clients began appearing as if guided by an invisible hand. His calendar filled with ideal opportunities, and his income flowed with graceful abundance. By releasing his grip on outcomes, he had allowed the universe to work through him, rather than struggling against its natural rhythm. These stories illuminate an eternal truth. The flow of abundance follows the path of least resistance. When you release the need to control every aspect of your financial journey, you open yourself to the natural current of prosperity. The universe's abundance moves like water. It cannot be forced, only allowed. In moments when commerce seems to pause, remember that this too serves the greater flow. Just as the ocean must pull back before delivering its most powerful waves, periods of apparent quiet prepare the way for greater abundance. The ancient practice. Sit in stillness, breathe with calm rhythm, and affirm gently, I choose ease, and abundance follows my joy, allowing this truth to sink into your heart as prosperity flows to you through life's effortless harmony. Chapter 9. Worthy of Reception. There once lived a gifted healer named Rosemary who tended to the sick in a small village. Her remedies brought comfort to countless souls, yet whenever patients offered generous payment, she would lower her eyes and accept only the smallest sum. Others need it more, she would say, or, my gift is meant to serve, not profit. Though her heart overflowed with kindness, her own life remained spare and simple, her needs barely met. The universe speaks through all channels, and truth arrived for Rosemary through an elderly herbalist who visited her humble cottage. As Rosemary prepared tea, explaining her philosophy of modest compensation, the herbalist smiled gently and shared an ancient teaching. When you close the door to receiving, you diminish not only yourself, but those who wish to give. Every act of genuine giving creates a sacred circle. The giver is blessed in their generosity, while the receiver honors that gift through graceful acceptance. To reject abundance is to break this holy cycle. This wisdom illuminates a fundamental truth about the flow of universal energy. You exist within an infinite circle of giving and receiving. Each time you allow yourself to receive with grace, you strengthen the entire system of exchange. Your acceptance becomes a gift to the giver, completing their act of generosity and amplifying the frequency of abundance for all. Bernard, a talented musician, discovered this truth when he began teaching piano. At first, he charged minimal fees, believing his passion should be shared freely. Yet he noticed his students often missed lessons or arrived unprepared. When a wise friend suggested he value his expertise more highly, Bernard doubled his rates and witnessed a transformation. Students arrived eager to learn, practiced diligently, and progressed rapidly. By honoring his worth, he enabled others to value both his teaching and their own commitment. The law operates with mathematical precision. What you permit yourself to receive creates the channel through which you can give. As you expand your capacity to accept abundance, you simultaneously expand your ability to serve others. This is not pride or greed, but alignment with universal law. Money, like water, must both flow in and flow out to maintain its life-giving properties. When you dam its entrance, you limit its expression through you. Every time you diminish your receiving, you unknowingly restrict your giving. Each time you embrace abundance with gratitude, you become a clearer channel for prosperity's movement through the world. The key lies not in taking, but in allowing, in recognizing that receptivity is as sacred as generosity. When you permit yourself to receive gracefully, you honor both yourself and the infinite source of all abundance. You declare to the universe, I am worthy of prosperity, and through my acceptance, I amplify the flow of good for all. Ancient practice. Sit peacefully, palms open, and breathe until calm fills your body, softly repeating, I am wholly safe to receive, for giving and receiving are one, feeling your energy unfold into the gentle, endless current of life's abundance. Chapter 10. Joy as the Wealth Frequency. In a bustling marketplace where merchants called their wares with stern faces and customers haggled with furrowed brows, stood Lulu's small cafe. Unlike the tense atmosphere that surrounded her, Lulu's eyes sparkled with mirth as she served her simple fare. Her genuine laughter rang like silver bells through the morning air, transforming the energy of her modest establishment. What began as natural joy soon revealed itself as an ancient principle. The universe responds to lightness of spirit. While others tracked their profits with grave intensity, Lulu danced between tables, sharing stories and finding delight in life's small moments. Mysteriously, her cafe began to flourish. Customers returned not just for the food, but for the infectious happiness that filled the space. This truth echoes through the ages. Money flows most freely through channels of joy. When you approach wealth with heaviness, it becomes laden with burden. But when you infuse your relationship with prosperity with genuine delight, it responds like a friend to laughter. Orville, a seasoned accountant, discovered this wisdom quite by accident. For decades he had approached financial matters with stern precision, viewing numbers as serious business. Yet one day, while training a young apprentice, he began incorporating playful metaphors and humorous observations into his explanations. To his amazement, not only did his student grasp complex concepts more easily, but Orville's own practice began to transform. Clients who once dreaded their financial reviews now looked forward to meetings. Complex problems found elegant solutions as Orville's lighter approach allowed creative insights to surface. His income doubled, then tripled, all because he dared to bring joy to what most considered solemn work. The universe operates through vibration, and joy carries the highest frequency of all. When you merge this elevated energy with your financial dealings, you tap into abundance's natural state. Money, in its purest essence, is frozen delight, the crystallized form of life's celebration. Think of children at play, how easily they attract attention, resources, and support through their natural exuberance. This same principle applies to your relationship with wealth. When you approach money matters with genuine lightness of heart, you align with prosperity's true nature. This is not to diminish the importance of sound financial management, but rather to infuse it with life's natural buoyancy. Like water, money seeks its own level, and it naturally rises to meet those who greet it with authentic joy. Ancient practice. Before any financial exchange, pause and let a true smile bloom from gratitude, feeling its warmth ripple through you and infuse the moment, turning every transaction into a graceful celebration of abundance in motion. Part 2. The Sacred Dialogue of Circulation. Chapter 11. Money Loves Clarity. In a quiet village lived a woman named Pearl, who spent her days dreaming of more abundance and better fortune. Her wishes floated like clouds, shapeless, formless, drifting without direction. Though she practiced gratitude and maintained a positive spirit, her prosperity remained as vague as her desires. The law of attraction responds to clarity as surely as a lock yields to its exact key. Just as the universe orchestrates the precise patterns of snowflakes and the exact timing of celestial movements, it honors detailed vision with matching precision. When you speak in generalities, the universe can only respond in kind. More money might manifest as a single coin found on the street. Better fortune could appear as a minor discount at the market. These responses perfectly mirror the fuzzy frequency of unclear requests. Consider the merchant Harvey, who transformed his modest shop through the power of exact vision. Where others merely hoped for good business, Harvey crafted a detailed vision board with specific monthly revenue goals. He pictured exact customer numbers and precise profit margins. Each morning he would stand before his creation, feeling the joy of these specific achievements as if already manifested. Within months, Harvey's sales aligned with his detailed projections. A customer flow matching his visualized numbers began to materialize. His precise targets acted as a beacon, drawing exactly what he had imagined with crystal clarity. The universe delights in specificity. When you dare to name your desired income, when you boldly claim exact figures in your vision, you activate a higher law of manifestation. Vague wishes scatter your magnetic power, while precise intentions focus it like a lens concentrating sunlight. This ancient wisdom teaches that prosperity responds to detailed direction. Just as a master architect requires exact measurements to build a temple, the universe needs clear specifications to construct your desired reality. Each number you declare with joy becomes a divine instruction, each specific goal a sacred blueprint. Ancient practice, the precision ritual. At sunrise or sunset, write your desired monthly income in joyful clarity, hold it to your heart and affirm, with clarity and joy, I declare this vision. As surely as the stars hold their courses, this intention now manifests in divine time. Then place it where you can honor it each day with gratitude, knowing your precise, joy-filled intention is already taking form. Chapter 12. Balancing, Giving, and Receiving. In the sun-drenched hills there lived a healer named Georgia, whose gifts flowed endlessly to all who sought her wisdom. Day after day she poured her energy into helping others, refusing payment and brushing aside offerings. My gifts come from the divine, she would say. How can I charge for what flows freely? Yet as the seasons turned, Georgia found her own well running dry. Her garden withered, her pantry emptied, and her strength diminished. Still, she continued giving, until one morning she could barely rise from her bed. The universe operates through sacred equilibrium. Like the eternal dance of day and night, the ebb and flow of tides, all energy must maintain its perfect balance. When you disrupt this divine circulation, you interrupt the very laws that sustain abundance. In the material realm, this truth manifests through the exchange of value. Money serves as the symbol of this exchange, ensuring that energy flows both ways, nourishing all it touches. To block this flow through constant giving or constant receiving is to resist the universe's natural rhythm. Consider Victor, the musician who once believed charging for his art would diminish its purity. He played in streets and squares, turning away coins until his instrument fell into disrepair. Then an old master shared a timeless truth. The bird honors the farmer by eating the grain. The flower honors the bee by sharing its nectar. When you accept payment, you honor the sacred circle of giving and receiving. Victor began accepting fair exchange for his music. As he did, his artistry deepened, his instrument renewed itself, and his audiences grew. He discovered that accepting payment allowed others to complete their side of the spiritual transaction, bringing harmony to both giver and receiver. This wisdom echoes through the ages. Balanced exchange creates sustainable abundance. When you undervalue your gifts or reject fair payment, you not only diminish yourself, but deny others the opportunity to participate in the cycle of prosperity. Like the breath itself, wealth must flow both ways. Inhale and exhale, give and receive, serve and accept. This is the natural order that sustains all life. When you honor this balance, you align with the universe's perfect design. The ancient practice of equilibrium. Sit in stillness, one hand over your heart and one open to the world, breathing with the rhythm of give and receive as you affirm, balance fuels my blessings. As I give, so I receive. As I receive, so I give. In perfect equilibrium, abundance flows through me. And so it is. Chapter 13. Language of Abundance. Long ago, in a bustling marketplace, a merchant named Susie spent her days lamenting her circumstances. "I never have enough," she would mutter as coins passed through her hands. "Everything costs too much," she sighed while counting her daily earnings. Her words became a constant hymn of lack, and soon enough her small shop began to mirror her thoughts. The ancient wisdom teaches us that your words shape the vessel through which abundance flows. When you speak of scarcity, you carve channels too narrow for prosperity to pass. Your declarations become decrees, and the universe, ever faithful to your commands, delivers exactly what you proclaim. Each complaint, each worried utterance about money creates resistance in the natural flow of wealth. These are not mere words floating into empty air. They are blueprints that the universe follows with unwavering precision. The language you choose becomes the architect of your financial reality. In the quiet valley beyond the city walls lived Hank, a potter whose life transformed when he discovered this timeless truth. Where once he muttered, "I can't afford new clay," he learned to say, "I'm exploring the perfect timing for my next investment." His shift from worry words to wealth words opened new pathways of possibility. As his language evolved, so did his circumstances. Opportunities appeared as if summoned by his reformed vocabulary. Where he once saw obstacles, he now recognized stepping stones. His pottery began selling at prices that matched his elevated expectations, and his workshop expanded to meet growing demand. The universe responds not to your desires alone, but to the vibration of your every word. When you declare limitation, limitation becomes your companion. When you speak of abundance, abundance draws near. This is not mere coincidence, but the operation of universal law. Yet this wisdom extends beyond mere positive thinking. It calls for a fundamental shift in how you relate to money through language. Each time you catch yourself speaking of lack, pause. Remember that your words are seeds planted in the fertile soil of infinite possibility. The sacred practice. Each morning, listen to the words you speak about money, and instead of saying, "I can't afford," choose, "I'm choosing another flow today." Feel the power of that shift as your language transforms into a bridge for abundance, inviting the universe to meet you in possibility. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Emotion of Deserving. In a village among ancient hills, Beatrice created beautiful tapestries that brought joy to all who beheld them. Yet whenever someone praised her work or offered generous payment, she would bow her head and murmur, "Oh, it's nothing special." With each deflection of appreciation, her talents seemed to dim, and her prosperity would waver like a flame in the wind. The truth lies written in the eternal scrolls. Your relationship with success mirrors your relationship with abundance itself. When you diminish your light, you signal to the universe that you prefer shadows. When you apologize for your gifts, you tell wealth it is unwelcome in your presence. Your achievements are not accidents to be explained away, but sacred manifestations of your alignment with universal law. Each time you shrink from success, you interrupt the natural flow of abundance that seeks expression through you. Consider Rufus, the master woodcarver who learned this wisdom through experience. For years, he worked in silence, creating masterpieces but speaking of them as mere trinkets. His turning point came when he discovered an aged manuscript that spoke of the power of acknowledging one's light. Your recognition of your own worth, the manuscript revealed, is the key that unlocks the treasury of the universe. Rufus began to speak differently about his creations. This piece captures the spirit of the forest, he would say with quiet confidence. My hands were guided by inspiration. As he acknowledged his gifts, his workshop flourished. Customers who once haggled now offered more than his asking price, recognizing the value he had finally claimed for himself. The universe responds to your emotional agreement with success. When you approve of prosperity, you create an energetic signature that attracts more of the same. Your acceptance of abundance becomes the foundation upon which greater wealth builds its home. This is not pride, but truth-telling. It is not boasting, but honoring the flow of universal energy through your being. When you stand firmly in your worth, you align with the natural state of abundance that pervades all existence. Your achievements are not random occurrences, but manifestations of universal law in action. Each success, whether small or significant, deserves your full acknowledgement. For in celebrating your wins, you invite the universe to present you with more occasions for celebration. The sacred practice. At sunrise, stand tall and name 3 clear reasons you deserve abundance. Speak them aloud with bold certainty, letting each truth vibrate through you as the universe echoes your conviction, aligning its endless flow of prosperity to your unwavering worth. Chapter 15. Respecting the Source. Consider Edna, who owned a small bookshop in the heart of town. Each morning she would arrive at her store muttering about the early hours, the dusty shelves, and the tedious work of organizing volumes. "This shop is draining my energy," she would say, her words echoing through the quiet aisles. "I deserve better than this." Yet with each complaint, her sales dwindled, and loyal customers began to shop elsewhere. The universe responds not to our words alone, but to the emotional vibration beneath them. When you speak ill of your source of abundance, you create resistance in the very channel through which your prosperity flows. Like a garden that withers without appreciation, your wealth retreats when met with constant criticism. In contrast, witness Claude, a teacher at the local academy. Though his position was modest, he began each day by touching the school's stone walls with reverence. "Thank you for providing me the opportunity to serve," he would whisper. He blessed each classroom, expressing gratitude for the chance to share knowledge. Within months, the headmaster approached him with an unprecedented offer, a position as senior instructor with double his previous salary. The law remains unchanged through ages. What you appreciate appreciates. When you honor the vessels through which abundance reaches you, you strengthen these pathways. Every source of income in your life, whether grand or humble, is a sacred partnership with the universe's infinite supply. Your current channels of prosperity are not limitations to be endured, but foundations to be blessed. Each represents the universe's answer to your previous asking. By honoring these channels, you demonstrate readiness for greater expansion. This ancient wisdom emerges in the story of Claude, whose gratitude transformed his circumstances without struggle or strain. His appreciation created an energetic invitation for abundance to express itself more fully through his work. He did not need to demand more. His thankfulness naturally magnetized increase. The practice of gratitude circulation. At dawn, place your hand over your heart and bless each source of income with heartfelt gratitude, saying, "I bless you, I appreciate you, thank you for being a faithful conduit of abundance," and feel your sincere appreciation open new paths for prosperity to flow. Chapter 16. The Miracle of Circulation. Long ago, in a bustling marketplace, a merchant named Mabel kept her coins locked in an ornate chest beneath her bed. Each night she would count them meticulously, her heart gripped by the fear that tomorrow might bring loss. Though her shop prospered, the weight of her anxiety cast shadows over her spirit. The chest grew heavier, yet her life felt increasingly hollow. When you grasp too tightly to wealth, you interrupt its natural rhythm. Money, like the breath of life itself, must flow freely, both in and out, to maintain its vital force. The universe operates through continuous circulation, and wealth follows this same divine pattern. Your relationship with money mirrors the greater cycles of existence. Just as the ocean's tides must ebb and flow, just as the seasons must turn one into another, abundance requires movement to maintain its power. When you hold wealth in fear, you create stagnation in your own stream of prosperity. Mabel's awakening came through an unexpected teacher, a humble garden she had neglected while guarding her treasure. Her flowers withered from lack of water, much like her spirit withered from lack of generosity. In that moment, she understood that her hoarding had created a dam in the river of abundance. With trembling hands, she began to release her grip. First, she invested in seeds for her garden. Then, she shared her knowledge with aspiring merchants. Each time she released her resources with grace, new opportunities blossomed before her. This truth echoes in the tale of Irving, a craftsman who discovered the secret melody of joyful giving. While others grumbled about their obligations, Irving approached each payment as an offering of gratitude. "This coin carries my appreciation," he would say, placing it in the hands of those who had served him. Soon, unexpected rewards began flowing into his life, bonuses, gifts, and opportunities that seemed to arise from nowhere. The universe responds to the energy behind your transactions. When you release money with joy, you create a magnetic field that draws more abundance toward you. Each dollar you spend or save carries your energetic imprint. Fill that imprint with light and watch as it returns multiplied. Think of money as a messenger carrying your consciousness into the world. Every transaction becomes a prayer, every exchange an opportunity to bless both giver and receiver. This sacred circulation creates a spiral of increasing prosperity that lifts all who participate in its dance. Practice. The sacred exchange. Before any exchange, hold your payment with gratitude and affirm, "I release you with joy to carry the light of abundance." As you bless others, I receive in perfect harmony, turning each transaction into a sacred celebration of prosperity's endless flow. Chapter 17. Seeing Money as Emotion. In an ancient valley between towering mountains, there lived a merchant named Dorothy, who witnessed a peculiar pattern in her trading ventures. On days when storms brewed in her heart, her transactions became turbulent and uncertain. Yet, in moments when tranquility filled her being, gold seemed to flow as naturally as a mountain stream. The connection between your inner state and outer abundance follows an immutable universal law. Like a still pond that perfectly reflects the sky above, your financial world mirrors the climate of your consciousness. When chaos rules your thoughts, your resources scatter like leaves in an autumn wind. But when peace governs your mind, prosperity settles into natural order. You may have noticed this correlation in your own life, though its subtlety often escapes immediate recognition. Your relationship with money operates as a precise instrument measuring the harmony or discord within. Each transaction tells a story, not of numbers alone, but of your emotional frequency in that moment. Dorothy discovered this truth through careful observation. She began keeping a simple record, noting her emotional state alongside her daily earnings. The pattern emerged with startling clarity. Her most prosperous periods aligned perfectly with her most centered states of being. The universe responds not to your words or wishes, but to the vibration you maintain. When you cultivate inner stability, external abundance naturally follows. This is not mere coincidence, but the operation of cosmic law. Just as a garden flourishes in consistent conditions, wealth grows steadily in the soil of emotional equilibrium. Consider the tale of Chester, a wise trader who transformed his fortunes through inner mastery. Each morning, before the marketplace stirred to life, he would sit in silence, allowing his thoughts to settle like sediment in clear water. His competitors rushed frantically through their days, their profits rising and falling like stormy seas. Yet Chester's business flowed with remarkable steadiness, like a deep river that knows its course. This wisdom speaks to a fundamental truth. Your relationship with money begins within. External actions matter, certainly, but they must rise from a foundation of inner peace. When you establish this harmony, financial decisions flow from clarity rather than reaction. Opportunities appear with natural timing, and resources align with your genuine needs. You need not change your entire life at once. Begin with moments, simple pauses throughout your day when you reconnect with your center. Let each financial choice arise from this place of stillness. Notice how different it feels to pay a bill or make a purchase from a state of calm presence rather than hurried anxiety. The ancient practice offered here carries the power to transform your relationship with abundance. It asks nothing complex of you, only the willingness to pause and remember that prosperity flows most freely through peaceful channels. Practice. The peace-prosperity connection. Sit quietly, hand over heart, and breathe until calm fills every part of you, softly repeating, "Peace equals prosperity," and feel inner stillness settle as the true source of your abundant flow. Chapter 18. Honoring Commitments. High in the mountains, a merchant named June kept her unopened bills in a wooden chest, each envelope weighted with dread. She believed that by avoiding these papers, she could preserve her peace. Yet with each passing day, the chest grew heavier, and her spirit lighter until the imbalance could no longer be ignored. Money flows through channels of trust. When you resist its natural movement, you create invisible barriers to abundance. Like a stream that meets a dam, energy pools and stagnates rather than nourishing the lands it was meant to reach. The universe operates through perfect exchange. Every breath you take demonstrates this principle: the giving of carbon dioxide, the receiving of oxygen. When you understand this rhythm in your financial life, resistance dissolves into reverence for the sacred dance of giving and receiving. Consider Elmer, a humble shopkeeper who transformed his relationship with money through one simple shift. Each morning, he would rise early to tend to his accounts, treating each bill not as a burden, but as an opportunity for completion. With every payment sent, he felt a wave of expansion, as though clearing space for new abundance to enter. This truth echoes through the ages. Money seeks pathways of trust. When you honor your commitments with grace, you send ripples of integrity through the universal field of abundance. Each paid bill becomes more than a transaction. It evolves into a declaration of your reliability, your respect for the cycle of exchange. The energy of money responds to your attitude toward obligation. When you approach your financial responsibilities with resistance, you create friction in the flow. But when you meet them with willing participation, you align with the natural current of prosperity. Think of your bills as messengers of completion. Each one represents an exchange already fulfilled, services rendered, goods received, value experienced. Your payment closes the circle, maintaining the harmony of give and receive. The key lies not in the amount, but in the energy behind your action. A small bill paid with gratitude generates more positive flow than a large sum given with resentment. The universe responds not to numbers, but to the frequency of your participation in the cycle of exchange. Elmer discovered that swift payment brought swift return. As he cleared his obligations with joy, new opportunities appeared with increasing frequency. His business flourished not through complex strategies, but through this simple practice of honored exchange. You hold this same power. Each bill that arrives offers a chance to strengthen your relationship with abundance. When you shift from avoidance to acceptance, from dread to appreciation, you transform these papers from burdens into bridges to greater prosperity. Practice the gratitude exchange. Before paying any bill, pause, breathe deeply, and affirm, "Thank you for this completed exchange. I celebrate this flow of abundance, feeling gratitude turn each payment into a graceful act of continued prosperity." Chapter 19. The Patience Dividend. In a bustling marketplace, Ruth darted between stalls with frantic energy, desperate to turn her small shop into an overnight success. Each morning she would scatter seeds randomly, expecting a garden to bloom by sunset. When customers trickled in slowly, she doubled her prices, then slashed them desperately, never allowing natural rhythms to establish themselves. Her impatience created a dissonant energy that kept abundance at bay. The universe operates on divine timing, a truth as old as the stars themselves. Like the phases of the moon or the turning of seasons, Wealth flows according to sacred rhythms that cannot be forced or rushed. When you align with these natural cycles, prosperity unfolds with grace and certainty. You may notice how forcing outcomes often leads to their opposite. The harder you grasp at money, the more it seems to slip away. This is because abundance responds not to desperation, but to trust. It flourishes in the soil of patient attention, like a seed that knows exactly when to sprout. Consider how Marvin transformed his investment practice. Rather than chasing quick returns, he learned to breathe with the market's natural ebbs and flows. He stopped trying to outsmart time itself. Instead, he studied the wisdom of cycles, how wealth, like a great wheel, turns according to its own divine schedule. His portfolio grew steadily, naturally, each investment building upon the last like rings in an ancient tree. The secret lies in understanding that your relationship with money exists beyond time. When you release the need to control when and how abundance arrives, you open yourself to receive it in ways far greater than your limited planning could devise. Your role is to maintain unwavering faith while honoring the perfect unfolding of universal law. Picture a master vintner who knows that fine wine cannot be rushed. The grapes must be tended with care, harvested at precisely the right moment, and allowed to age to perfection. No amount of demanding or worrying will speed this process. Yet when the vintner trusts the timing, the result transcends all expectations. In a sister valley to Ruth's shop, Marvin learned that prosperity compounds naturally when given space to grow. He treated his business like a garden, planting consistently, tending faithfully, and allowing divine timing to bring each seed to fruit. His patience was rewarded as his wealth grew organically, each success building naturally upon the last. The wisdom of ages teaches that abundance flows not according to our demands, but in harmony with universal law. When you align with these sacred rhythms, releasing anxiety about when and how, you allow prosperity to unfold in its perfect season. Trust that the universe's timing far exceeds your limited vision of how things should manifest. Sacred practice. As the sun sets, face its fading light and affirm with calm assurance, divine timing perfects my wealth, trusting that abundance, like the dawn, always returns in perfect alignment with the universe's rhythm. Chapter 20. Inviting the Unexpected. Along a winding mountain path, a weary traveler named Hazel carried her life's plan etched in stone tablets. Each tablet bore detailed instructions, exact times for success, precise amounts of wealth to accumulate, and rigid methods for achieving her goals. The weight of these stones bent her back and slowed her steps. One morning, as dawn painted the sky in gentle hues, Hazel stumbled. Her precious tablets shattered against the rocks below. At first, terror gripped her heart. How would she navigate without her carefully crafted plans? Yet as she stood there, unburdened, a curious lightness filled her being. The morning breeze, which she had never noticed before, danced playfully around her. For the first time, she heard the whispers of opportunity in the wind. In the weeks that followed, Hazel discovered that life flowed more abundantly when she released her grip on exactly how and when prosperity should arrive. A chance conversation led to an unexpected partnership. A wrong turn revealed a hidden marketplace eager for her offerings. What she had thought were obstacles became doorways to greater possibilities. The universe delights in surprising those who remain open to its infinite channels of abundance. Like water finding its way through countless paths to the sea, wealth flows through unexpected venues when you release rigid expectations. This truth unveiled itself to Ned, a merchant who had insisted that his fortune could only come through his family's traditional trade routes. Each day he would stand in his shop, turning away opportunities that didn't match his preconceptions, until one winter morning, when heavy snow blocked all conventional paths to his store. In that moment of forced surrender, Ned welcomed an unusual proposal from a traveling artist. Together, they created a new form of trade that neither had imagined possible. His willingness to adapt opened channels of prosperity that far exceeded his original vision. These ancient teachings reveal that flexibility is not merely an attitude. It is a magnetic force that attracts abundance. When you release your attachment to the form in which wealth must arrive, you allow the universe to surprise you with its limitless creativity. Your role is not to dictate every detail of prosperity's arrival, but to remain receptive to its myriad expressions. Like a tree that bends with the wind rather than standing rigid against it, your adaptability becomes your strength. Remember, the universe's imagination far exceeds your own. What you envision as your highest possibility may be just the beginning of what life has in store. By remaining fluid in your expectations, you invite prosperity to manifest in ways that surpass your limited planning. Sacred practice. At dawn, open your arms to the rising light and affirm with joyful expectancy, "I am open to delightful financial surprises," feeling abundance rush through you as the day unfolds in unexpected grace. Part 3. The Mastery of Prosperity Consciousness. Chapter 21. Embodying Financial Calm. In a bustling marketplace where merchants rushed frantically between stalls, a gentle soul named Lena tended her small herb shop. While others panicked at market fluctuations, raising and lowering prices with each passing rumor, Lena maintained her peaceful demeanor and consistent rates. Her customers often remarked how entering her shop felt like stepping into an oasis of tranquility. When a severe drought threatened the season's harvest, causing widespread anxiety among the merchants, Lena continued her daily rituals with unwavering serenity. She arranged her herbs with the same careful attention, greeted each customer with genuine warmth, and kept her ledgers with steady hands. While others hoarded their supplies and inflated their prices, she trusted in the natural ebb and flow of commerce. The universe responds not to our outer circumstances, but to the vibration we maintain within. Like a still pond that perfectly reflects the sky above, a calm mind mirrors the abundance of the infinite. This truth reveals itself through every transaction, every exchange, every moment of financial flow. Through the market's storms, Lena's business not only survived, but thrived. Customers, drawn to the peaceful energy surrounding her shop, returned again and again. They brought friends, spread word of her stable prices and serene presence. Her trust in abundance, expressed through her unshakable composure, created a magnetic field of prosperity. Across town, Ralph observed Lena's example. As a jeweler whose fortune rose and fell with the whims of wealthy patrons, he had lived in constant anxiety about his next sale. But watching Lena's steady success, he began to understand the power of maintaining inner peace regardless of external conditions. Ralph transformed his workshop into a sanctuary of calm. He learned to craft his pieces from a place of centered tranquility rather than desperate need. Soon, clients commented on the subtle shift in his creations. They now carried an essence of serenity that made them uniquely desirable. This ancient wisdom teaches us that wealth flows most freely through still waters. When you maintain your center during financial storms, you become a stable channel for abundance. Your calm demeanor sends ripples of trust through the universal field of prosperity, attracting circumstances that match your inner stability. Money, like any energy, responds to the quality of consciousness it encounters. When met with panic, it retreats. When greeted with steadiness, it settles into natural patterns of increase. Your serenity becomes the foundation upon which lasting prosperity builds its home. The universe asks not that you deny the existence of financial challenges, but that you meet them from an unshakable core of peace. This steadiness becomes your greatest asset, worth more than any amount of gold or silver. For in your calm lies the power to attract and sustain true abundance. Sacred practice. Whenever thoughts of money appear, surround yourself in golden stillness and let its calm radiance steady your heart, remembering that true wealth flows effortlessly through those rooted in inner peace and timeless trust. Chapter 22. Guided by Intuition. High in a mountain village, a talented weaver named Betsy crafted exquisite tapestries. Unlike other artisans who accepted every commission offered, she developed a peculiar habit. She would sit in silence before agreeing to any project, listening to the quiet whispers of her heart. When wealthy merchants arrived, flaunting gold and demanding immediate attention, Betsy would excuse herself to her garden. There, beneath the morning sun, she would close her eyes and attune to the subtle guidance within. Sometimes, despite generous offers, she would decline projects that felt misaligned. Other times, she would accept modest commissions that sparked a mysterious joy in her soul. The material realm speaks a language deeper than words. When you align with the voice of inner knowing, the universe orchestrates prosperity through unexpected channels. This ancient truth unlocks the gateway to natural abundance. Those who viewed Betsy's approach as foolish soon witnessed its wisdom. The clients she accepted through intuitive guidance became enthusiastic patrons, spreading word of her work across distant lands. Her tapestries, created in harmony with inner promptings, carried an inexplicable power that commanded premium prices. By trusting her inner compass, she attracted clients who truly valued her artistic spirit. In the valley below lived Floyd, a merchant known for his careful deliberation in trade matters. After observing Betsy's success, he began incorporating moments of inner listening before making business decisions. Rather than rushing into promising ventures, he would retreat to his study, light a candle, and await the subtle nudges of intuitive guidance. At first, this practice seemed to cost him opportunities. Fellow merchants mocked his meditation sessions, claiming business required swift action. Yet Floyd persisted in consulting his inner wisdom. When others frantically invested in a new trading route, his intuition counseled patience. Months later, when the route proved treacherous and fortunes were lost, Floyd's restraint preserved his wealth. The language of money speaks through the still voice within. Every coin carries consciousness. Every transaction holds wisdom for those attuned to receive it. Your inner knowing is the most sophisticated financial advisor in existence. Floyd's investments, guided by intuitive wisdom, began to flourish in unexpected ways. He found himself drawn to overlooked opportunities that later proved immensely profitable. By following his inner promptings, he avoided ventures that appeared promising but carried hidden pitfalls. The universe orchestrates abundance through the channel of intuition. When you trust the gentle whispers of inner guidance, wealth flows with graceful ease. Your heart knows the path to prosperity. Sacred practice. Each morning, before addressing your finances, close your eyes, breathe deeply, and ask inwardly, "Dear money, where would you love to grow today?" Then listen in stillness as prosperity answers through the quiet guidance of your own heart. Chapter 23. The Power of Celebration. In ancient times, a merchant named Irene discovered a remarkable secret. Each time she received payment for her goods, rather than quietly tucking the coins away, she would pause to honor the moment. With every transaction, she bowed her head in gratitude, sometimes humming a soft melody of thanks. The universe responds to the frequencies you emit. When you meet money with joy, it multiplies that vibration through the infinite field of possibility. This truth has echoed through the chambers of wisdom since time immemorial. At first, Irene's practice seemed simple. A moment of appreciation, a smile, a gentle word of thanks. Yet, as the days passed, she noticed something extraordinary. Her small celebrations began to shift the energy around her business. Customers lingered longer, spent more freely, and returned more frequently. The very air in her shop seemed charged with a magnetic vitality. Money flows where joy resides. It seeks the warmth of celebration like a flower turning toward sunlight. The ancient masters understood this principle, that abundance thrives in the soil of appreciation. In a distant port city, a shipbuilder named Gordon embraced a similar wisdom. After completing his weekly invoices, a task that once filled him with dread, he would rise from his desk and dance. His movements, sometimes graceful, sometimes comical, transformed the energy of exchange into one of delight. Initially, his apprentices thought him strange, but soon they noticed how effortlessly payments arrived, how smoothly transactions unfolded. Gordon's dance became a beacon, attracting prosperity with the power of pure celebration. Your relationship with money mirrors your deepest patterns of receiving. When you greet it with stiffness and severity, it responds in kind. But when you welcome it with lightness and joy, you open channels for its natural expansion. Gordon's practice evolved beyond his private office celebrations. He began marking every completed project with a moment of festivity, inviting his entire workshop to join in. Soon his shipyard became known not just for excellent craftsmanship, but for the spirit of joy that permeated every transaction. The ancient wisdom speaks, "As within, so without." Your inner celebration becomes the template for outer abundance. Each moment of gratitude plants seeds for future prosperity. The sacred practice passed down through generations beckons you to participate in this eternal dance of abundance. Let every exchange become an opportunity for celebration. Sacred practice. Whenever money comes your way, be it a single coin or a windfall, pause to celebrate with movement or laughter, letting your joy ripple through creation. For prosperity multiplies wherever genuine gratitude dances. Chapter 24. Teaching Prosperity to Others. A wise woman walked through a garden. sharing ancient secrets with the plants. Each morning, as she tended her flowers, a remarkable abundance followed in her wake. The universe whispered its truth through her gentle hands. Wisdom shared multiplies in mysterious ways. You possess within you seeds of knowledge waiting to bloom into greater prosperity. When you open your heart to share these treasures, you activate a profound law of increase. This truth echoes through the ages. Teaching creates expansion. In a bustling marketplace, Opal noticed her friend's worried expression as she counted coins. Rather than offering mere sympathy, she shared the sacred principles of abundance she had learned through years of study. Money, she explained, responds to our energy like water flows to welcome spaces. When we release our grip of fear, it moves more freely. Day by day, Opal guided her friend in the ancient practices, expressing gratitude for small blessings, treating money with respect, celebrating each exchange. As her friend's understanding grew, so did her prosperity. Yet something even more remarkable occurred. Opal's own wealth began to multiply tenfold. The universe responded to her generosity of spirit with increased abundance. The flow of wisdom creates channels for wealth to travel. When you freely share what you know about prosperity, you deepen your own mastery of these eternal principles. In a distant valley, Willard discovered this same truth. Having studied the sacred laws of abundance for decades, he felt called to share his understanding with others struggling with lack. Each week, he would gather with those seeking wisdom, teaching them the timeless principles that governed wealth's flow. As Willard shared these teachings, his own prosperity expanded beyond measure. The universe responded to his generous spirit by opening new channels of abundance, not just for him, but for all who gathered to learn. His community began to thrive as this wisdom circulated freely among them. This mirrors an eternal truth. Teaching prosperity, consciousness creates ripples of abundance that return to bless the teacher. When you share your understanding of wealth's principles, you strengthen your own connection to the infinite source. Knowledge of abundance was never meant to be hoarded. Like a stream that grows stronger with movement, prosperity teachings gain power through sharing. Each time you pass on wisdom about wealth's true nature, you cement your own mastery of these principles. The ancient ones knew this secret. Teaching is the highest form of learning. When you guide others toward understanding abundance, you align more deeply with wealth's eternal flow. Your words become seeds planted in fertile soil, growing into forests of prosperity that shelter many. Sacred practice. Today, share one truth about abundance that has shaped you, letting its wisdom flow from your heart to another, remembering that every time you teach prosperity, you amplify the current of it moving through your own life. Chapter 25. Healing Family Money Roots. In a small mountain village, there lived an elder named Agnes whose family had known scarcity for generations. Each time abundance knocked at her door, an ancient voice whispered warnings of impending loss. This voice, she realized, belonged not to her own wisdom, but to the echoes of those who came before, those who had survived through times of great hardship. Through the whispers of the universe, Agnes discovered that her relationship with wealth carried the imprints of her ancestors' struggles. With tender understanding, she began to see how their fears had become her inheritance. Yet in this recognition lay the key to transformation. The universe speaks through patterns, and your relationship with abundance reflects not only your own journey, but the collected wisdom and wounds of those who walked before you. These patterns of lack or limitation are not chains to bind you, but rather teachings waiting to be transformed through understanding and grace. When Lincoln discovered old letters in his grandmother's attic, tales of Depression-era survival and careful counting of pennies, he understood why money felt like a fleeting guest in his life. Instead of rejecting these stories, he honored them as sacred teachings of resilience. In blessing these lessons, while choosing a new path, he found that wealth began flowing through renewed channels. Your ancestors' relationship with money was born of their time, their challenges, and their profound desire for survival. Their fears served as protection, their caution as wisdom. Yet now, in this moment of awakening, you stand at a threshold of transformation. You can honor their journey while choosing to write a new story. When you release the weight of generational patterns, you free not only yourself, but also create healing ripples through your entire lineage. This liberation opens new pathways for abundance to flow, not just for you, but for all those connected to your line. Through forgiveness and understanding, Agnes found that her ancestors' voices gradually transformed from warnings into blessings. Each time she received money, she thanked them for their strength while affirming her right to thrive. The old patterns of lack dissolved into streams of abundance. Lincoln discovered that by blessing his family's journey, their sacrifices, their survival, their teachings, he could release the grip of inherited debt cycles. He placed photographs of his grandparents on his altar, lighting a candle each time he paid his bills, combining reverence for their journey with his commitment to a new way. The healing of money lineage requires gentle acknowledgement that each generation did its best with the consciousness available to them. Your awareness now serves as a bridge between their wisdom and new possibilities. Ancient practice of lineage liberation. At dawn or dusk, light a candle for your ancestors, place your hands over your heart, and affirm with gratitude, I honor those who came before me. I receive their strength, release what no longer serves, and allow a new story of abundance to flow through our line. I am free to thrive, and in my thriving, we are all healed. Chapter 26. Serving Through Abundance. In a bustling market square, a merchant named Marjorie counted her coins each evening with a furrowed brow. Though generous in spirit, she gave only from her carefully calculated leftovers, always fearing tomorrow's needs. The universe watched as she struggled between her desire to help others and her anxiety about maintaining enough for herself. One morning, as sunlight streamed through her shop window, Marjorie noticed how her flowering plants naturally shared their abundance. They didn't count their petals or measure their fragrance. They simply bloomed, and in their fullness offered beauty to all who passed. This simple observation awakened something profound within her. When you grip tightly to resources, believing scarcity lurks around every corner, you create the very constriction you fear. The universe operates on principles of expansion, not contraction. True giving flows from a space of natural abundance, like a cup overflowing with fresh spring water. The art of giving from overflow transcends mere charitable acts. It emerges from a consciousness that recognizes abundance as an ever-flowing stream, rather than a stagnant pool. When you align with this truth, giving becomes as natural as breathing, an effortless expression of your inner wealth. Howard, a successful merchant in a coastal town, discovered this principle when his warehouse overflowed with surplus grain. Instead of hoarding it, he transformed vacant lots into community gardens, teaching others to grow their own food. His initial investment multiplied as these gardens became centers of abundance, feeding not just bodies, but souls. The teaching speaks clearly. Service born from joyful surplus creates an endless cycle of prosperity. When you give from overflow, you declare to the universe your trust in its infinite supply. This declaration becomes a magnetic force, attracting even greater abundance into your life. Marjorie's transformation began when she stopped calculating her giving and started flowing with it. She noticed that when she shared from a place of natural abundance, her shop seemed to fill with more customers, her plants grew more vigorously, and unexpected opportunities appeared like morning dew on rose petals. Howard's gardens multiplied beyond his original vision. As neighbors tended the flourishing plots, they shared their harvest with others, creating ripples of abundance throughout the community. His initial act of giving from overflow had seeded a forest of prosperity that nourished generations. The universe responds to the energy behind your giving. When you share from fear or obligation, you perpetuate a consciousness of lack. But when you give from your overflow, you amplify the very essence of abundance. This is the secret wisdom of true philanthropy. It is not about depletion, but about celebration. Ancient practice of overflow. Sit in stillness, hands over your heart, and picture yourself as a radiant fountain of giving and receiving. Then affirm softly, "I am one with the infinite flow of abundance. My prosperity blesses all, and every blessing I share multiplies my capacity to receive." Chapter 27. Rewriting the Narrative of Lack. In a bustling marketplace, a merchant tallied her day's earnings with trembling hands. Through her window, an abundance of flowers bloomed freely, sharing their beauty without reservation. This sight awakened a deeper truth about the nature of giving. The universe flows through endless cycles of generous expansion. Like a mighty river that nourishes all it touches, true prosperity moves with natural grace, blessing both giver and receiver. You stand at the center of this eternal circulation, chosen as a channel through which abundance flows. Yet old stories often block this natural movement. Beverly, a skilled artisan, believed wealth must be hoarded against future storms. "There's never enough," echoed the voice of her grandmother, who had lived through harder times. Each sale brought anxiety rather than joy, as Beverly struggled to release her creations into the world. But the universe whispered wisdom through her craft. As she shaped clay into vessels, she noticed how each piece grew more refined through the giving of her talent. The more freely she poured her creativity, the more mastery flowed through her hands. In the quiet dawn hours, Beverly began questioning these inherited beliefs. What if abundance multiplies through sharing? She wondered. With each piece she created, she infused gratitude for the opportunity to serve through her art. Gradually, her work transformed from a means of survival into a channel of blessing. Eugene, a teacher, discovered this same principle through daily affirmations. Where once he viewed his salary as barely sufficient, he began declaring, I am a conduit of infinite abundance. Each morning, he wrote new stories of prosperity in his journal, replacing scarcity thoughts with visions of overflow. Money flows through me to bless others, he would affirm while preparing for class. Soon, opportunities for additional income appeared, not from striving, but through joyful service. As he taught from abundance rather than lack, his students thrived and his reputation grew. The voice of fear speaks of limitation, but the voice of truth knows only expansion. When you align with the universe's natural flow, giving becomes as natural as breathing. Your prosperity serves as a light illuminating possibilities for others. Sacred practice. Sit in morning quiet, breathe away every trace of scarcity, and write your story beginning, I live in generous flow, letting truth fill each word as the universe responds, expanding its blessings through you into the world. Chapter 28. Money's Personality Mirror. In a quiet village lived a woman named Phoebe, who kept her coins scattered across dresser tops and between couch cushions. Each morning she would frantically search for missing pieces, muttering under her breath about her perpetual state of disorder. Her relationship with money mirrored her inner turmoil, chaotic, uncertain, and filled with anxiety. The art of relating to wealth begins with understanding a fundamental truth. Money responds to your treatment of it just as surely as a garden responds to its keeper's care. When you scatter seeds carelessly upon untended soil, they yield sparse harvest. But when you plant with intention and nurture with devotion, abundance flourishes naturally. Through your daily interactions with money, you paint a portrait of your deepest beliefs about value, worth, and abundance. Every gesture, every thought, every emotion you direct toward your finances creates ripples in the universal field of energy. These ripples return to you, carrying the same quality of attention you have given. Harold, a craftsman, discovered this truth while reorganizing his workshop. For years, he had tossed his earnings into a drawer, paying little attention to their care. His income seemed to slip away as carelessly as he had stored it. One day, inspired by an inner prompting, he began treating his earnings with the same precision he applied to his craft. He counted each note carefully, arranged them with respect, and stored them in a beautiful wooden box he had carved himself. As the weeks passed, Harold noticed a striking transformation. Not only did his finances become more organized, but opportunities for increased income appeared with surprising regularity. Clients who appreciated quality sought him out, and his craftsmanship commanded higher prices. The care he showed his money returned to him multiplied. This mirrors an eternal principle. That which you nurture nurtures you in return. Money is not merely currency. It is a living energy that responds to your attention. When you treat it with dismissal or negligence, it reflects that same energy back to you. But when you approach it with mindfulness and appreciation, it blossoms under your care. The relationship you maintain with money serves as a mirror, reflecting your inner relationship with abundance itself. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to witness your beliefs about prosperity, success, and self-worth. Are you avoiding looking at your bank statements? Do you postpone balancing your accounts? These habits reveal deeper patterns waiting to be transformed. Just as a garden requires daily tending, your relationship with money thrives on consistent, loving attention. Each transaction becomes an opportunity to practice presence and care. each bill paid with gratitude, each earning received with appreciation, strengthens your connection to the flow of abundance. Sacred practice. Each morning, place your hand over your heart and greet money as a cherished ally, affirming with warmth. Beloved partner in my journey, I welcome you and honor our shared creation of abundance for the highest good of all. Chapter 29. The Infinite Circulation. A merchant walked through the desert, clutching his gold pieces so tightly that his knuckles turned white. Each step he took was measured against his fear of loss, each moment consumed by protecting what he believed was his. As night fell, he came upon an oasis where a wise woman sat peacefully beside a flowing fountain. She noticed his rigid posture and invited him to rest. "Why do you hold your wealth as though it brings you pain?" she asked. The merchant loosened his grip slightly, and a single coin fell, landing in the fountain's pool. To his amazement, the ripples transformed into circles of golden light, multiplying his reflection infinitely. You are now discovering one of wealth's most liberating truths. Money flows most abundantly when you release the illusion of ownership. The universe operates through continuous circulation. Breath moves in and out. Seasons change. Planets orbit. And wealth perpetually seeks movement. When you grasp at money with desperate ownership, you interrupt its natural rhythm. Think of yourself as a channel through which abundance flows, rather than a vessel that must store and hoard. This shift from ownership to stewardship aligns you with the cosmic law of circulation. Just as a river stays fresh through constant movement, while a stagnant pond grows murky, wealth maintains its vitality through flow. When you surrender the need to control every dollar, replacing anxiety with trust in divine supply, you open yourself to unlimited abundance. This is not carelessness with money, but rather a higher form of care, one that honors wealth's desire to move freely while blessing all it touches. In a distant kingdom lived a merchant named Norman who counted his gold obsessively each night, fearful of loss. His wealth brought him no joy, only constant worry. One evening, while watching autumn leaves dance in the wind, he realized nature never hoarded its beauty. The trees released their leaves freely, knowing spring would bring new growth. That night, Norman placed his coins in a special box and declared, "You are not mine to keep, but mine to steward." From that day forward, he managed his wealth with peaceful detachment, and to his amazement, his prosperity grew beyond measure. This ancient tale reflects your own journey with abundance. When you release the grip of possession, treating money as a trusted ally rather than a captured prize, you align with wealth's true nature. Your role is not to own the flow, but to direct it wisely, knowing that what flows through you can multiply infinitely. Sacred practice. At sunrise or sunset, hold a coin in your open palm, breathe deeply, and affirm, "All wealth moves through me for the highest good," feeling ownership dissolve into flow as you become a clear channel for infinite prosperity. Chapter 30. The Highest Degree. Becoming Wealth's Presence. In a sunlit garden, a woman sat counting flower petals, her mind consumed with calculations and projections. Each morning she would tally nature's bounty, believing that by measuring the blooms, she could somehow control their growth. This endless arithmetic left her exhausted, blind to the garden's natural abundance. Through the wisdom woven into existence, you now approach the deepest truth about prosperity. Wealth flows not from endless pursuit, but from the consciousness you embody. When you release the compulsion to chase, measure, and control, you discover that abundance already resides within your being. The universe responds not to your actions alone, but to the frequency of your consciousness. Just as water takes the shape of its container, prosperity molds itself to your inner state. When your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs align with abundance, money naturally gravitates toward you, not because you pursued it, but because you became its natural home. Consider this truth. The sun does not strain to shine, nor does the ocean labor to flow. Their nature is their power. Similarly, your highest prosperity emerges not from striving, but from being. When you embody the consciousness of abundance, you need not chase wealth. It recognizes itself in you and responds accordingly. In a distant valley lived Edwin, who once tracked every coin with anxious precision. His ledgers were perfect, yet prosperity remained elusive. One dawn, while watching dewdrops glisten on morning grass, he realized each drop perfectly reflected the entire sky. In that moment he understood. Abundance was not about accumulation, but reflection. He began greeting each day with gratitude so deep that every breath felt like wealth itself. Soon, his life transformed not through pursuit, but through alignment. Flora, a merchant's daughter, spent years believing wealth required constant vigilance. She studied markets tirelessly, her mind never at rest. Then one evening, watching the moon's reflection in a still pond, she witnessed how peace itself drew light. She learned to maintain her inner tranquility regardless of external figures, understanding that her aligned consciousness was the true source of abundance. As she released her grip on outcomes, prosperity flowed naturally into her experience. These stories mirror the transformation awaiting you. The highest mastery of wealth comes not from doing more, but from being more aligned, more grateful, more at peace with the infinite flow of abundance. When you shift from seeking to embodying, from pursuing to becoming, you discover that prosperity was never separate from your true nature. This truth has been whispered through the ages. Wealth is not a destination, but a frequency of being. As you align your consciousness with abundance, money recognizes itself in your energy and naturally gravitates toward its own reflection. Sacred practice. Sit quietly and breathe in the effortless abundance surrounding you, hand over heart, whispering with calm certainty, "I am the consciousness money adores," and feel prosperity flow to you as naturally as air fills your lungs. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. In these final moments of revelation, you stand at the threshold of wisdom's deepest chamber. The journey through the degrees has led you not to acquisition, but to transformation. Money, once seen as a distant force to be conquered, now emerges as your constant companion in life's sacred dance. Through each lesson you have awakened to this truth. Wealth flows not from striving, but from communion. Like a faithful friend, it responds to your attention, your respect, and most powerfully, to your love. When you greet your bank balance with warmth instead of worry, When you bless your bills with gratitude instead of dread, you speak in prosperity's native tongue. The masters of old knew this secret, that abundance is not earned through force, but invited through frequency. Your journey has taught you to vibrate at wealth's highest octave, the note of peaceful certainty, of graceful reception, of joyful circulation. You have learned to treat money not as a cold commodity, but as living energy that delights in your delight. Notice how your relationship with prosperity has shifted from pursuit to partnership. Where once you chased, now you dance. Where once you grasped, now you receive. The tension has dissolved into trust, the anxiety into appreciation. This is the mastery of the 33rd degree, not a technique to master, but a harmony to embody. Your prosperity now flows from this simple truth. Money follows attention, attention follows gratitude, and gratitude always follows love. You have graduated from the school of striving into the wisdom of being. Whether in moments of abundance or in cycles of pause, you dwell in wealth's peace, knowing that your friendship with prosperity grows ever stronger through the power of loving attention. This is your inheritance, not merely wealth, but the consciousness that creates it naturally, effortlessly, eternally.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.